Hi and welcome to D&D for Beginners. I want to talk a little bit about edgy, grumpy characters. And some characters to play instead of the edgy, grumpy, annoying edgelord character. What are edgy, grumpy characters? Edgy, grumpy characters are characters that are a lot hated upon because they're typically not great characters for D&D. They're great characters for anime, or main characters in books or all that stuff. They're not great characters for D&D. When I see a beginner making a character, a lot of beginners make a character that is hard to roleplay and not one that is easy to roleplay. And a lot of beginners are thinking like, oh, maybe I can make a character that is easy to roleplay by making it a lone wolf that is like a lot of main characters and that I can relate to and that is not opened up and stuff because opening up is gonna be hard. No, stop there. That's not a good character. I get it. People typically choose these characters because the person in question that is choosing this character is shy. They think that this will make roleplay easier, this will make the campaign easier, which is not true. I get it, but it's not true. They think maybe if I play a character that isn't talkative, that isn't open up, I don't have to do that, so that's easy. I put it here as main character syndrome because they want to be the main character, which is very logical. In D&D, the whole party, the way I see it, the whole party is the main character. They're all main characters. However, they make such a main character that the others can't be main characters anymore, and that is what we see sometimes. It's great to want to be the main character. It's not great to want to be the main character on your own. They also just are thinking so much about their characters that they just lose track of the other characters and just forget that there are also other characters here, other players and stuff. One of the reasons I also see it is because they want to be cool. I get it. You want to be super cool. It's D&D, you want to do cool things, you want to have a cool, edgy character. However, you need to really watch out with that because that's a big pitfall of D&D. What's so bad about it? Because I just said it's okay to be shy, I just said it's okay to be the main character. It's a team game. Everybody needs to be the main character, not just you. And if your character is a main character that is not really a team player, then that's not a team character. It's a team game, so make a team character. If your character is a lone wolf that doesn't want to hang out with people, why would that person be in the party? That's not a team character. Don't do that. It doesn't work well with the party. They also often hate quests. The character doesn't want the trouble of an adventure and needs to be thrust in it like a chosen one. And that's not the way to go because then you put all that energy on the DM and the DM is not gonna like this energy. As a DM, I like it when my players make my life hard, not in this way. There are other ways that I like more when my players make my life hard. Genuinely not in this way. This is a very energy sucking way. It's energy sucking even not only for the DM but also for the whole party because you need to convince this character to come along with you. It's just hard. Brings me to the third thing. It's hard to roleplay. It's just hard to constantly find reasons to go with the party. It's hard to say something because you're the edgy one, and how can you say something if you're that edgy? Often it will just leave you to just do nothing until there is battle, and that's just it's sad. It's sad. I'm saying you don't do it. But what can I play? I hear you ask. There are other ways to do this, to do some of this. You can be a person that is thrust into a quest. You can be a person that doesn't like the party, or you can be a person that doesn't talk a lot. How do you do that? First one, doesn't talk a lot. Make a shy character. For example, this is Emily. Emily is a shy character. She doesn't like talking and she just wants friends because she feels lonely. She started to follow a group of weird people, a weird cluster of people, because often a party is a weird group of people. It's gonna be such different characteristics that it's gonna be an interesting group of people. She liked that, so she started following around. She didn't say much, but she thought if I follow this group around a lot, maybe one day they'll be friends with me. There you go, shy. You don't have to initiate talking, and eventually your party is gonna ask you questions because you're following them around, and then you can answer things. That's a way, and you can still be shy and start to open up after a while. A writer. I don't know, maybe your character is a book writer. They don't want really adventure, but they're trying to write a book, and they saw this party, and they were like, wow, this is a very interesting group of people who do quests. I'm gonna follow them around, and I'm gonna write about them. I don't want to go go on a quest, but I still gonna motivate the party to go on a quest because I wanna write about these cool quests. And if the quests are not happening, I can't write much. It has a reason to go on a quest. They have a reason to go with the party. Why not? Chosen family. This is Jack. Jack once found your character and was like, Jack is a character of another player. They found your character and they adopted them. Chosen family is great. However, watch out. It needs to be established from the beginning. You can be a loner wolf that doesn't like people except their chosen family. And what a coincidence. The chosen family is the party. How great is that? They can be talkative to the party, they can help the party, they can be protective of the party, and they can still be edgy and a loner wolf towards NPCs. And the party will make up for that, unless they're all lonely wolves. Please communicate with your party members if you do any of these characters, by the way. Because if they're all the same, it's not gonna work. But I hear you say, I don't want someone that wants to go with the party. I want someone that actually is reluctant to go, but still has a reason to go. I want to be a cranky emo teenager that really doesn't want to go because I am emo and great. You can do it, but you need to find a reason. Maybe you were an emo teenager that really likes to be alone, that doesn't like to have friends, but then your parents were like, hey, we're throwing you out, we want you to make friends, we want you to come back with those friends, and then you can come back in. They have something to prove, they have something to go for, they chose this party for who knows what reason, maybe because they thought this party is weird and other parties are gonna take me too seriously, I don't know, but they joined the party, they don't wanna be there, but they have reason to be there and they're gonna stay there. Or it would even be better. Just imagine, if you want to already establish other connections, maybe one of the party members is being paid to be this cranky teenager's friends, so that one of the party member is always gonna try to convince this teenager, no, you're coming along with me, maybe in a very stern way. You need to talk about that with that player, because that's also gonna take energy, but that would be cool. A little pitfall if you do that is don't make it too hard on the other player. If the other player is gonna be stern and gonna have to don't make it too hard on the other player, because if you're gonna make it very hard on the other player by just being being a very difficult teenager, then the other player has to constantly put energy in that. That's not a great way to do it. Wouldn't do that. But if you don't make it too hard on the other player, this could be a way of being annoyed with the party or stuff. Another way to be annoyed with this party, maybe you are a person that would much rather do this quest alone, but you're not allowed to, because the quest giver has given this quest to the party and you are hired to keep this party alive. And that is your quest. And you feel above your party. That could be great interactions. This party member feels like they're way better than the other party members. They're gonna look down upon the other party members. They're gonna be maybe a little bit mean. If everybody is consent to that being roleplayed. Great character. Maybe after a while they can learn to accept the party and that they're not better than the party. Could be great. And they have a reason to stick around, because they need to keep this party alive. And if they're not gonna stick around, this party is gonna get themselves killed. Great stuff. Maybe you are forced to go on this quest because you're a spy and you are spying on one of the party members. That party member doesn't know that, and you are relinquishing information to someone, but you have to stick to this quest. This is a great character for maybe if you don't want to make choices and you just want to follow a character around and stick to the party and maybe help fight and stuff. Great character, because the spy can just agree with whoever they're spying on's choices. Those are just a few examples, by the way, which means edgy characters or loner wolves are okay if you do it right, but you just have to do it right. If you want to make your own, I have a few requirements that you better think about. I would say every character needs to think about that, because these are just general rules. If you're thinking about making a character and you're thinking how easy is this character to play in a party, some general things. First off, find a reason to stick to the party. Just have a reason. Maybe you have a family member in the party, maybe you like a member in the party, maybe you just have to because you're paid for it. Find a reason to stick to the party, because if you don't have a reason to stick to the party, it's gonna be hard. If you don't have a reason from the beginning, that's fine, but make sure you find a reason quickly. If the party gives you reasons to not stick to the party, try to find the reason to stick to the party. If your party is making it really hard, just talk to them. Just find the reason. Secondly, and that's about the being cool, allow yourself to be silly. Make sure that you don't pressure yourself into make a cool character. I've not talked about this until now, but if you want to make a cool character that's always cool and always perfect and a bit of a Mary Sue, that's not gonna work for D&D, because in D&D it's important that you allow yourself to be creative, to try stuff, to make mistakes. Your character is gonna make mistakes. You're gonna roll bad. You're gonna try something that doesn't work. That is the entire thing in D&D. Bad rolls are amazing, by the way. Imagine just you have to cross a bridge and it's a very wonky bridge and you have to make an athletics check. No, not an athletics, an acrobatics check. Imagine if you have like this cool character that cannot be silly at all and cannot fail. Maybe you wouldn't try that, because what if you fail? Then your character is gonna fall and then it's not gonna be cool anymore. Oh no, so you don't try it. That would be very sad. That's gonna be very limited, so that's just a very important point. And third, also very important, and third of all, make sure they want to go on a quest. If they don't want to, honestly, if they don't want to go on a quest, your reason to stick to the party is gonna be extremely big, to stick to the party and go on a quest. If they don't want to stick to the party, your reason to go on the quest is gonna be really big, because they need to go along. These two are, you don't necessarily need both, but it's better to have both, because it's gonna make it easier. But if you don't have both, that's fine, but the other one needs to be amazing. Find a reason to go on this quest, or have a reason that they have to force themselves. They don't need to want to go on this quest, they just need to have a reason to go. And then a little extra, if you are playing a party that is very closed off and not very opening up to the party, if you're playing a character that is very closed off and not very much opening up to the party, that's somehow fine, but make sure you are making sure they're opening up. It's your responsibility for your character to eventually open up, to eventually talk about themselves, or to eventually connect with the party. It's not the party's responsibility. If you put all that responsibility on the party, it's just gonna be very exhausting to play with you. Everybody has their own characters. Everybody needs to check their own characters. Everybody needs to make sure their character is connecting to the party, is working along and stuff. You also need to do that, because if you put that responsibility into your party members, they're not gonna like you. Those are the things to keep in mind. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment. If you wanna tell me something about your first character, maybe a horror story, maybe a great story, or talk about your character that you are making, leave it in the comments below. I'll answer probably. Bye.